You finally got an offer on your house. Maybe it's even over asking. So why does something in your gut feel off? Trust that feeling, because the highest offer is not always the best offer. And I've watched sellers lose 2 months and 15 grand learning that the hard way. If you're selling this year or even thinking about it, this video will save you a headache. So hit subscribe before we begin. I'm Jerry Davis, and after years in this business, on job sites and at closing tables, I can tell you that deals don't usually die at the closing. They die on day one, in the offer itself, because the seller didn't know what to look for. By the end of this video, you'll know the 7 red flags I check before I'd ever tell someone to sign, and exactly what to ask for instead. None of this requires a law degree. It just requires knowing where people get burned. Red flag number 1. The offer that's way over asking with nothing behind it. Look, I get it. You list at 400, someone offers 435, and you're already mentally spending the difference. Here's the problem. If that buyer is financing, the bank sends out an appraiser, and the appraiser doesn't care what the buyer promised you. If the house appraises at 410, the buyer's loan only covers 410, and now that generous buyer is back at your kitchen table asking you to drop the price 25 grand. 3 weeks in, your house has been off the market the whole time, and the other buyers who were interested, gone. What you want instead is simple: appraisal gap coverage in writing. That's the buyer saying, if the appraisal comes in low, I'll bring the difference in cash, or at least a chunk of it. If they offer over asking, but won't put gap language in the contract, that number is decoration. It's not real money. Treat it accordingly. Red flag number 2, a weak financing letter. This one drives me nuts because sellers almost never read the letter. They just see approved and relax. There is a huge difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved. Pre-qualified means someone typed their income into a website and nobody checked anything. Pre-approved means a lender actually pulled credit and looked at documents. And even then, check the date. I've seen letters that were 4 months old from a lender nobody in the area has ever heard of, for a loan amount that barely covers the offer. Here's a pro tip. You or your agent are allowed to call the lender. Actually do it. Ask if they've verified income and assets, and ask if they see any problem closing on time. A good loan officer will answer in 2 minutes. If you can't get the lender on the phone before you accept, imagine trying to get them on the phone when your closing is falling apart. Red flag number 3, tiny earnest money. Earnest money is the deposit the buyer puts down when you accept, and it's the clearest signal of how serious they are because it's the only thing they actually risk. In most markets, 1 to 3% is normal. So when someone writes a $400,000 offer with $500 of earnest money, they're telling you something. They're telling you that walking away from your house costs them less than a dishwasher. And buyers with nothing at stake behave like it. They get cold feet, they keep shopping, they nitpick the inspection to death. Don't get me wrong, low earnest money alone isn't automatically a deal breaker. But combined with anything else on this list, it means the buyer built themselves a cheap exit. Counter it. Ask for more deposit and watch how fast you find out whether they're serious. Red flag number 4, the cash offer that can't prove the cash. Cash buyer, quick close, as is. Sounds like a dream, right? No appraisal, no lender, no drama. But here's where people mess up. Anyone can say cash. Ask for proof of funds, meaning a recent bank or brokerage statement showing the money actually exists, dated within the last 30 days. If they dodge that, you're done. And while you're reading that contract, look for 3 little words, and or assigns, next to the buyer's name. That usually means you're not dealing with a buyer at all. You're dealing with a wholesaler who plans to tie up your house under contract and then shop it around to real buyers for a fee. If they find one, great. Someone else closes on their terms. If they don't, They vanish, and you've lost a month. Can we please stop signing these without reading them? Strike the assignment language, demand proof of funds, and require real earnest money. A genuine cash buyer won't blink at any of that. Red flag number 5. The inspection period. That's really a free trial. Now, let's talk about the part most homeowners forget, which is the timeline inside the contract. A normal inspection window is somewhere around 7 to 10 days. When a buyer asks for 15, 20, 21 days to inspect, with the right to cancel for any reason, they haven't bought your house. They've rented an option on your house for free while they keep looking at other listings. Your home sits pending, buyer traffic dies, and if they bail on day 19, you're relisting a house that now looks stale online. And everyone shopping in your price range wonders what the inspection found, even when nothing was wrong. Tighten the window. 7 days is plenty for a serious buyer to get an inspector out. And here's the detail that makes all the difference. Agree in advance, in writing, on how repairs get handled, whether that's a credit cap or an as-is sale with right to terminate. Otherwise, the inspection becomes round 2 of price negotiation. And round 2 always goes worse for the seller. Red flag number 6. The home sale contingency on a house that isn't even listed. This means your buyer can only buy your place if their current place sells first. Sometimes that's workable, but ask the follow-up question, because this is where it gets ugly. Is their house actually on the market? I've seen sellers accept an offer contingent on the sale of a home that hadn't been photographed yet. That's not a contingency. That's a hope. You're now waiting on their agent, their pricing, their buyer, their inspection, their appraisal, a whole second transaction you have zero control over, stacked on top of yours. If you take a home sale contingency at all, take it with armor. Their house already listed, priced sanely, and a kick-out clause that lets you keep marketing your home and bump them if a stronger offer shows up. No kick-out clause, no deal. And yes, I know some of you are going to disagree, especially in slower markets where contingent buyers are half the pool. Fine, but get the kick-out clause. It costs you nothing. Red flag number 7. The inflated price with concessions buried underneath. This is the sneaky one. Buyer offers full price, $400 even, and you're thrilled. Then on page 3, they want a 3% seller credit toward closing costs, a $14,000 rate buy-down, a home warranty, and they'd like to close in 60 days and have you pay for a lease back while they're at it. Add it up, and your $400,000 offer nets you less than the $388,000 offer you turned down. It looks great on paper. It's designed to look great on paper. Here's what no one tells you. The only number that matters is your net at closing, not the price at the top of the contract. Before you compare any two offers, have your agent or your closing attorney run a net sheet on each one, side by side, every credit and fee included. Takes 10 minutes. I've watched that 10 minutes flip, which offer wins more times than I can count. So that's the list. Overpriced offers with no appraisal gap, flimsy financing letters, pocket change earnest money, cash that can't be proven, inspection periods that function as free options, contingencies stacked on unlisted homes, and full-price offers that quietly bleed out through concessions. Notice a pattern? Every single one of these gets caught by reading the actual terms instead of the headline number. The offer price is the marketing. The contract is the deal. Tell me in the comments which one of these you've run into or which one you almost fell for, because I guarantee at least a couple of these show up in almost every sale. And I read those comments. Here's the takeaway. The best offer is the one most likely to actually close, at the best, real net, in a timeline you can live with. Sometimes that's the highest number. A lot of times it isn't. Slow down for one day, read the terms, verify the money, and you'll be ahead of 90% of sellers out there. If this helped, hit like, subscribe, Share it with someone who's about to list their house because they need to see it. I'll catch you in the next one.